Our next guest is with us at our CNN studios in Los Angeles. He is one of the major figures in the world of rock music. He is David Lee Roth, and Mr. Roth's newest... Hi, David. Mr. Roth's newest album is, and we will now see the cover of that album, titled Edom and Smile. Will you explain, David, for me, since it's not one of the selections in the album, what it means?
Well, Edom and Smile could mean one of any 5 different things there, depending on which side of the album cover you're looking at, or depending on which song is on the turntable at the time. But it suggests a bunch of different things. See, rock and roll, when it's the best, is a combination of all kinds of things. So it's a little bit of aggression, it's a little bit competitive, it's a little bit sense of humor. And the cat on the cover of the album is the last guy to know that he's got the most paint on his face and that he's got feathers in his hair, and isn't that rock and roll after all?
Why did you choose this as a career? Was it the kind of thing you wanted as a kid? Were you a singer?
I knew exactly what I was going to do when I was 6, 7 years old. I started, my Uncle Dave gave me my first radio, you know, and I was in a little bedroom, you know, a little pad at the apartment, living with the family, and the first thing, you know, that I thought of to do with radio was to attach a stick so I wouldn't have to get out of bed, and I could dial the radio on and off while I laid in bed. And I said to myself, I'm perfect for show business.
But you had problems as a kid, though, weren't you? And you had some delinquency problems. You were called a bad boy, weren't you?
Well, delinquency problems, I guess what it is like I had a short childhood. I knew what I was going to do when I was 7 years old. I started imitating all the, you know, the commercials on TV and ticky-tacking on the table and sing, you know, all the songs, and everybody said, well, don't pay any attention to Dave, he's just doing monkey hour like that. And then I really put everybody to consternation because I started preparing for the career, you know. I started studying and learning the comic books and that kind of thing. And everybody said, oh no, he's serious.
How did you hook up with Eddie Van Halen? How did that come about?
Well, we started out like anybody else does. You know, you start out in the local backyard party, you know, and at the local high school dance, that kind of thing. And we started off as crosstown rivals. It was just a situation of when everybody grows up, you want to decide, are you going to be a doctor or a lawyer or an Indian chief, that kind of thing. And most people decide not to be rock and roll musicians, so we kind of wound up with each other. It was a process of elimination.
What city?
That was Pasadena, California.
Why wasn't your name on the lead of the group as well?
Well, I don't know. It seemed a little bit abrupt just to say, you know, somebody's name if it doesn't have a certain ring to it, you know. And it was my idea to call the band Van Halen. It sounded like, man, maybe that could be a classical piano player, or maybe that could be a pirate ship or something like that, you know. And that way, you know, if you name yourself Electric Stew, you don't have to sound like Electric Stew 10 years later.
Why'd you leave?
Why did I bail? I'm a workaholic. I like to travel. I like to go on the road. I like to, you know, I always read in the Beatle magazines, you know, all the little groupie fan magazines when I was in 4th grade about all the Beatles. They recorded their new album in Paris, France, and then they argued about it in London, and then they remixed it in Southern California, and they went on vacation to Tahiti to celebrate. And I said, great, sign me up. And then when, you know, and what happened with the old band is after a while, you know, that kind of activity slows down a little bit. Some folks, you know, get married. Some folks find other interests beside that kind of whoop it up nomadic existence, and I kind of skipped a groove.
We're going to see a clip from this album. The clip is Yankee Rose. You want to tell us what this is about?
Well, Yankee Rose started off, I wrote the lyrics in New York City, and New York City was going statue crazy, you know, Statue of Liberty crazy. Get your statue burger here, home of the original statue burger, you know. And I only reflect in my lyrics what goes on around me. I only, you see yourself reflected in my eyes. So naturally, I'm going to write about the Statue of Liberty a little bit, you know. But I try to figure it like, well, we'll make her a real woman, and we'll have her walking in front of the corner liquor store or whatever as the case may be, and I would be out in front of the corner liquor store as usual, and with the band, and our dialogue that goes back and forth between us.
Let's watch a little of the newest from David Lee Roth from the brand new album Edom and Smile. Here it is, Yankee Rose.
I'm on the case, pick up the phone, no time to waste. She
There was a lyric there, David, right?
Well, you came in on the coda, Bubba, you know.
Why do you dress like that?
Well, it's a music should look like it sounds, you know. That's the essential part of any kind of performance music, I think. And that kind of music, it makes you feel a little bit sexy, you know. So you wear the vacuum-packed appearance, that kind of thing. But there's a difference between sexy and overtly erotic. And I see this is kind of charming in the sexy sense.
Are you thoroughly enjoying yourself?
I used to work for a living, and this is better.
We'll be right back with David Lee Roth on Larry King Live right after this.